So Mark chapter 8, 1 to 13, and then we're going to finish with 8 to 14 to 21. And it's going to be, this is the first take, because the next one, we're going to reach the middle of the gospel. And the middle of the gospel is where everything starts, goes head to head. Jesus, the devil, and the rest of the people, the Pharisees. So this one is going to get, and we're going to have it, it's going to get very confrontational, and we're going to see it from right now. From right now, we're going to see how confrontational it gets, because the Pharisees and even though Jesus makes miracles, they don't believe him. So that's why making miracles, that's a guarantee that people will believe. So let's see, where did I put this? Oh, here it is. So starts like this. Remember, the last thing Jesus did before this passage is that he healed a deaf and mute man. Deaf and mute, which is so you cannot talk, you cannot hear, and then Jesus is going to talk about something that people don't understand as well. If they have ears, but they can understand. They see, yes, they don't see. So one thing of the gospel is that Jesus is always giving things second meaning, but he doesn't say, "Hey, this means something else." He's not going to tell them. He just mentions. He hopes that you understand. It's like, how can I say? It's like we parents. We parents sometimes we do things so that our kids can see it, and so they can follow us. What we do? Like what, Erika? Give me an idea. Or you, so you're a mom. You do something so you so your daughter knows. So your daughter knows what to do. Like
when we say something, they try to do the same things.
yeah. So hopefully.
Try to in the house.
Oh yeah, Natalie looks around there.
I think.
Oh, but we do things so our kids follow up, but we don't have to tell them anything. But we hope that they do. They get the point. Yeah. So Jesus does the same thing, and that's why we, even when we're grown-ups, we have to do it. That's why that book that a lot of people hate, but a lot of people like, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I read it. Well, I haven't actually read it. I heard it because I downloaded from the Audible, and it says that it gives an example, and I like it. The boss wanted more productivity, and they used to put how many things they were being produced at the factory, like night shift and day shift or afternoon shift. So one day the boss says, put there that the day shift produce a certain amount of stuff that they were producing. So but the boss put more stuff. So afternoon shift came back and said, well, what are they doing more than us? Hey, we're gonna beat them up. So they tried to beat day shift, and that's how the boss got to get the workers to work more. I mean, that's a, I don't know. I found that very exploiting the workers. But anyway, so Jesus is not exploiting anybody. He's giving food. So 8:1 says, during those days, another large crowd gathered. Since they had nothing to eat, Jesus called his disciples to him and said, I have a compassion for these people. They have already been with me 3 days and have nothing to eat. So this is very important. Nothing to eat. If you don't eat, you don't function. Yeah. If I send them home hungry, they will collapse on the way because some of them have come a long distance. And this is very important because this is the second time that Jesus does a miracle multiplying food. If you go back to chapter 6, he just did one of those. Chapter 6, verse 30. Okay, we read it. The apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going, what they did not even have a chance to eat, that they did not even have a chance to eat. He said to them, come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. So they went away by themselves in a boat. to a solitary place. But many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all towns and got there ahead of them. So remember, he's in the boat and they more or less know where he's going, so they run to where he's going. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them. Again, see, he had compassion. Same what happened in the in the in 8:2 it says, I had compassion. But in this one, is Mark saying that he had compassion. He had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. By this time, verse 35, by this time it was late in the day. So his disciples came to him. This is a remote place, they said, and it's already very late. Send the people away so they can go to the surrounding countryside and village to buy themselves something to eat. Yeah, but they have to eat. I don't know. I mean, sometimes if you are like, you have to get a place to eat, to unless they're carrying camps and tents. But he answered, "You give them something to eat." What? It's like when the boss tells you to do something. Yeah, you see, imagine Jesus, your boss. Oh, whatever you call the boss, we need this something. You do it. What? I mean, I'm just a worker here. Yeah, Natalie, I'm just a worker here. I'm not in charge. But he answered, "You give them something to eat." They said to him, "That would take 8 months of a man's wages. Are we to go and spend that much on bread and give it to them to eat? Bread. I don't know if you saw it on Sunday. Near the close to the church, it smells so nice. Yeah, David. The bread smells fresh bread. How many loaves do you have? He asked. Go and see. When they found out, they said 5 and 2 fish. Always fish. They're gonna see again fish because remember they're next to the what? Next to the lake. So fish is the only meat they're gonna have. Or beef or meat. How do you call beef or meat with fish? Beef? I don't know. Meat? Yeah, I don't know. How many loaves do you have? Go and see. When they found out, they said 5 and 2 fish. So five loaves and 2 fish. And look at this because all that these numbers, there's a lot of talk about what they represent. Then Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down on groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and fifties. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Does your Bible say different? He blessed. What does your Bible say? So you have a different Bible.
Which part?
Verse 41.
He took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and broke.
Yes, he blessed. Bless is the right word, not give thanks. He blessed because Jews bless the food. It's usually the Gentiles who give thanks. So this is a very telling. So who is he eating with? He is eating with Jews. So he blessed the bread, and he blessed and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to his disciples to set before the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. So they all ate and were satisfied. And the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces of bread and fish. The number of men who had eaten was 5,000. So we get 5,000 men. So we get 5,000 men to eat. How many people, how many women do you think there were? Usually at church, we have more men or women? Women. So have an idea. We have like, or let's put 8,000. And children, more than that. Let's say maybe 12,000. 12,000. So how many people they really eat? Yeah, I'm not saying that but the book of Mark, Mark only wants to tell us how many men so we can work it out. So 12, 20, maybe 25,000. And how are they gonna eat? And Jesus will be breaking bread for how long? Just imagine. Just imagine. There's a theory that came in the 1800s that the disciples that Jesus had really filled up a cave, and he was in the cave, and he was getting all the stuff from the cave and give it to the disciples.
He still have to show them.
Yes, yes, yes. But this is a thing, one of those things that they don't believe that Jesus did miracles, but he was like a trickster. But anyway, but have a look, but pay attention to what he says in verse 43. He picked up 12 basket full of broken pieces. 12 basketfuls. Again, 12. What does this number remind you? Huh? Yes, they were 12 disciples. Tribes, yes. Right now, Jesus is in Jewish territory. So tribes, 12. 12 disciples as well. 12 disciples as well. And then we're going to see a number that I never talk about. So says, I have the compassion. So in Mark, the book of Mark says that he has compassion. And now Jesus is saying, I have compassion for these people. They have already been with me for 3 days and have nothing to eat. If I send them home hungry, they will collapse on the way, because some of them have come a long distance. And this is very important, long distance. This little phrase in the Old Testament is used for two things. First, is used for the exile people, for the exile. They all come from a long distance from Babylon. But the other one is that Gentiles. Funny that Gentiles are called that they come from a long distance, although they are just right next door. But they're called long distance. And right now, in chapter 6, 6 of Mark, I don't know why, 6 Mark, he is in Jewish territory. In chapter 8, he is in Gentile territory. So he is talking about Gentiles, long distance. Those are the little words that we know that he is referring to Gentiles. So 12 tribes, and here, remember the baskets, 12 baskets. How many baskets? Okay, so his disciples answered, but where is the remote place? But where in this remote place can anyone get enough bread to feed them? I mean, they always put an excuse. Hey, we don't have anything. How many loaves do you have? Again, just 7, they reply. So last time there were 5 loaves and there were 5,000, yeah? 5 loaves and 5,000. Now it's 7 loaves. And we're going to see how many baskets. 7, they replied. He told the crowd to sit down on the ground. When they had taken the 7 loaves and give thanks. Here is giving thanks. What do we say when we do communion? What do I do? I mean, this is the way I do it, because Jesus, on the night he was betrayed, he took the cup, and after giving thanks, and that's where you find this word, eucharisteo, eucharisteo, where the Eucharist come from Catholics. Eucharisteo. That's the word that give thanks is Eucharisteo. Because somebody told me on Facebook, we Protestants, we don't do Eucharisteo. That's a made up word. I said, and I said, this is what Jesus said. Yes, he gave thanks. But remember, this is how Gentiles give thanks. They use this word. Jews said Baruch, Hashem Adonai. So blessed be the name of the Lord. So they blessed. Macarios, no. Yeah, blessed? Yes. Macarios then. But I forgot to say blessed right now in Greek. But when he's with the Jews, he speaks like a Jew. See? I'm running out of this thing now. Blessed. He blessed. But when he is in Gentile territory, he gave thanks. So those are the things that we have to look. Interesting things, because then we understand what Jesus is doing. Jesus is trying to talk their talk. Jesus is not going to come to us and talk. What? I understand what you're talking about. Jesus is not going to come and say, talk to me in Salvadorian, like soy in Salvadorian, because soy is not going to understand. Maybe, or maybe she will. I don't know. Yeah. All right. So blessed is Jewish, and give thanks is Gentile. So I think that the Gentile has won it along the way in the church, which is fair enough because the church is mainly made up of Gentiles. Which I'm not putting anybody down. Okay. All right. So he told the crowd to sit down on the ground when he had taken the 7 loaves and given thanks. He broke them and gave them to his disciples to set before the people, and they did so. They had a few small fish as well. But here he doesn't say how many fish, only a few. He gave thanks for them and told the disciples to distribute them. The people ate and were satisfied, again, like before. Afterward, the disciples pick up 7 baskets full of broken pieces. So now it's from 12 broken pieces, now 7. And the thing is that who picks broken pieces? Who's going to do it? Is Jesus a recycle guy? Or yeah, because yes, he didn't want anything to waste. But they were like broken pieces. They were like what people didn't eat. They were leftovers. The people ate and were satisfied. Afterward, the disciples picked up 7 baskets full of broken pieces that were left over. About 4,000 men. This time is 4,000. It's good that we are using another color now. 4,000 men. So imagine 4,000 men. How many women? Maybe 6,000 women. And then how many kids? Maybe another 6,000. So we're talking about 10, 15,000 people eating. After 4,000 men were present, and having sent them away, he got into the boat with his disciples and went to the region of Dalmanuta. Dalmanuta. Okay, I'm gonna start deleting stuff here because. Are you right, Zoe? Okay, can I delete? Yeah, yeah. Are you right? Oh my God. Because I know you're busy. So. Okay. Okay, let's see. Ah, for him. Okay. There's a very interesting place. Dalmanuta. Dalmanuta. If you look in your maps in the Bible, it's not there. This is one of those places in the Bible that are mentioned, but they haven't never found them. Why? But there's a reason. Because local people usually call certain things something else. Yes. I don't know. Do we call something like the MCG? We call it something else here, yeah? I remember some people call it something else. Yes. Yeah, they call it something else. Or Sydney Harbor, they call it something else. I remember that there's some towns that they call it, if you're local, you call it something else. Like Windombell, we call it Mexico. Ah! Tijuana. So Dalmanuta, they think that is Magdala. Because the place that when we look at the map, that's the closest place that we can think of. Magdala. So we think that somebody they call it something else because they're using just the terms. Okay, but this is where it gets nasty. And I'm gonna read it for you. So The Pharisees, so they have seen that Jesus fed 20 something thousand people. Now they see that that Jesus had fed so many people, but so he had made a miracle. Because if I invite everybody here, if I invite Zoe, Stanley, who else, Jim, the Candidos, and everybody, and I say to Erica, don't do anything, don't cook, don't do anything, and suddenly there's fish, and I start giving people fish and bread, and I don't know. See, it says that about the fish, but do you eat raw fish? It doesn't even say that it's raw fish or anything. It's quite interesting anyway. So those are the way I think. Japanese, yeah, maybe sushi, Jewish sushi fish. So what happens is that the Pharisees come and began to question Jesus. This is where I tell you. This is where again to test him, they ask him for a sign from heaven. But what did he just do? He just made a miracle, feeding thousands of people. Oh yeah, but that's not enough. We want to know more. We want you to show us more. And this is what happens to all those people who don't believe in speaking tongues or things. It's never enough for them. They say, show us proof. Show us proof on your phone. And then you show them video. Oh yeah, that video can be a doctor. And then show us proof of medical proof. Oh well, maybe the doctor got it wrong. Well, how if you don't want to believe, you don't want to believe. So the Pharisees, they didn't want to believe Jesus, that he was the Messiah, even though he made a miracle. Who made the miracle of feeding people in the desert? I just told you. Who made it? Moses. Moses fed thousands of people. He gave them also water, and they believe him. Well, and they rebelled afterwards. They said, Moses, we are tired of eating this manna. They were tired of eating bread. And this is in Psalm 95, it says, bread from where? From heaven. Angels' bread. So on Sunday, again, when we were going through the street, oh, so nice. I said, oh, I want to go and buy that bread. When Erica bakes the bread for the cake, oh, it smells so nice. So bread is something that we eat. It's something very important. So Jesus gives bread. He gives fish. Okay, I want to know another sign. I want to see something else. This is not good enough for me. But why did Jesus say that he wanted to give people food? Why? It says, I have compassion for these people. They have already been with me 3 days and have nothing to eat. Because Jesus is more worried about your well-being, not about amusing you, not about, wow, how powerful Jesus is. And this is the difference between Jesus and other preachers. Other preachers and today's preachers, they want to amuse you with how well they talk, or how or the things he does, they do. Yeah, well, yeah. But Jesus wants is more interested in how you are feeling, and so you are a nurse, but you are what? What's your title? Uh, Mental health. Yes. Do you know that one of very famous preachers this week or last week said that mental diseases make believe. John MacArthur said that. He said that ADHD and other ones, the PTSD and ADHD, all of those things are just made up so the big pharma can give you can sell. So, well, for those people who are going to watch this video, we have a professional here, a professional who's a nurse who deals with mental health. Jesus is concerned about your mental health. Jesus is concerned how you're feeling, how your mind is working. And it's not a topic today, but somebody in my Spanish speaking channel gave a lot, because he's also a nurse. So he's also a mental health nurse, and he said, and he put all the verses where Jesus cares about mental health, that the people are being oppressed. Like the guy who used to throw himself into the fire, the demonic possessed guy. Wanting to take your life is a mental health issue. And Jesus healed him. Jesus said, oh, you just, you, because that's what Jamon Carter said. People with PTSD, they just have grief. That's all they have, this grief. Uh, because they didn't die and their bodies died. So that's all. They have to get on with life. Life is full of grief. That's what he said. And he's been criticized in the US a lot. So the guy is, and you know what the irony is, Zoe? That his wife is dying of dementia. So that's a mental health issue too, because so how can you be so unkind to people who are going through these things? So the Pharisees came and began to question Jesus to test him. They asked him for a sign from heaven. So okay, you did a sign here. You did a sign showing people, showing giving food to people. That's not good enough. We want something else. We want something greater. We want a sign from heaven. A sign from heaven is not going to fill your belly. So this is what you need. So Jesus gets annoying. He says, Jesus sighed deeply. Man, these people, and this is not the first time that Jesus sighs. Also in chapter 6, verse in chapter 4, 30, chapter 6, verse 34, he says, he looked up to heaven and with a deep sigh said to him, Ephata, which means be open. And this man's ears were open, his tongue was loosened, and he began to speak plainly. So Jesus also feels. Jesus feels bad because people don't believe him. So Jesus sighed deeply and said, why does this generation ask for a miracle sign? I tell you the truth, no sign will be given to it. Then he left them, got back into the boat, and crossed to the other side. Again, crossed to the other side. So Jesus is in the we don't know where he is. He went to this place that we don't know where it is. We think that is Magdala, but then and then he gets into the boat and then he leaves again. So he's like he's flying everywhere. So this is the last part, the gist of the Pharisees and Herod. So the disciples had forgotten to bring bread except for one loaf they had with them in the boat. Be careful, Jesus warned them. Watch out for the gist of the Pharisees and that of Herod. They discussed this with one another and said, it is because we have no bread. So they thought that Jesus was having a go at them. Aware of the discussion, Jesus asked them, why are you talking about having no bread? Do you still not see or understand? Do you still not see or understand? See what is one of Jesus' miracles? What does he heal? The blind people, yes. And what did he, and before feeding the people, who did he just heal? Somebody who was, yes. So so Jesus is building up. So Jesus is building, blind, mute and deaf, or deaf and mute. And then who are blind? Who are blind with their own eyes? Who are blind? Look, the disciples. And who are listening to Jesus teaching all the time? But they are deaf as well. They're both blind and deaf, just like the Pharisees, just like the leaders of Israel. But Jesus wants to teach them. So don't feel bad. Yeah, Rabba. Yeah. They discuss, okay, so why are you talking about having no bread? Do you still not see or understand? Are your hearts hardened? Hearts. So it's not a question of only seeing, of blindness and being mute and being deaf, but it's a question that goes even deeper. It's a question of the heart. Next time I'm gonna put a cat in the garage. In the heart. It's a question of the heart. In certain relationships, you can have a very beautiful wife or a very beautiful husband too. Men are also beautiful. Yes, Liam is the most beautiful man on earth. Yeah, am I the most beautiful man on earth, Eric? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Is Victor the most beautiful man on earth? uh, and we're gonna have it here on tape. Victor, she said that you're not. She just kept it to herself. Wow. Okay, wow, wow. Like, is Cheyenne beautiful? Oh, I'm gonna show you a picture of this guy. Yeah, she likes it. Yes, he's our age, so, so yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm beautiful too. My age. Look, so you can have the most beautiful, the best car. You can have the best house. Can have the best of everything. But if your heart can despise it, your heart. Oh, oh, your best what? Your best. Uh, okay. You can have your best of everything, yet your heart can despise it. Mm. And that's why people can have the best. Just like what happened to Kaka. You don't know this one. Kaka is sounds awful, but that's his name. Kaka. He's a Brazilian. He's a Brazilian. Oh, he's retired now. He's a Brazilian evangelical. He used to be a football player. He was with the National League in Brazil. In Kaká, his wife, his wife divorced him in 2016. His first wife, because he said he was too good for me.
Was born in 2000.
No, no, they got married. I think no. I think they got divorced in 2016 something. No, but they got divorced. But when they got divorced, one of the reasons, because this became viral again. After so many years, became viral again in Latin America, because she said that he was too good for her. That's what she said. That's why she divorced him. So can you understand that, Soy? Hmm? It's like Erica saying, "I'm Louis too good for me." Yeah, Erica? Yeah, you can say that. Maybe I can say, "I'm too good for you. I'm leaving." No, but the woman said, "No, he's too good for me. I'm leaving." So, but people think that it because he wanted to be a pastor, that's why he left. She left, and but it's an issue of the heart. Again, it's an issue of the heart. He's a millionaire. He was faithful. He he took care of the family, but her heart wasn't in it. So it's an issue of the heart. Same with these people. Okay, let's. Do you have eyes but fail to see, and ears but fail to hear? This is he's quoting Jeremiah. He's quoting Jeremiah. What is it? He's quoting Jeremiah 5:21. In Jeremiah 5:21, he's talking to the people of Israel. In this one, he's talking to their own people, their own people. So there you go. So it's an issue of the heart. Yes, of course. That's what they're going through. We're up to verse 18. So, do you have eyes but fail to see? Do you have ears but fail to hear? So Jesus is saying, "Hey, you guys, you have seen what I done. You have heard what I said. Still, you don't understand." It says, "When I broke, and don't you remember when I broke the 5 loaves for 5,000?" That's why I told you to keep on the numbers. 5 loaves for 5,000. How many basketfuls of peas did you pick up? 12. It's like I can imagine this like in the a SpongeBob or regular show. 12. They reply. And then when I broke the 7 loaves for the 4,000, how many basketful of pieces did you pick up? The answer, 7. I forgot to tell you what 7 means. 7. In Jewish folklore or Jewish beliefs, there were 70 nations. And if you read a lot about Second Temple Judaism, which you should, you're my family, you should read about this Jewish people. Also, sorry, but 70 is the number of nations that existed. That's what the Jews, and still today, some even though we have a lot of nations, but there's still so 70. So remember what I told you in the first miracle. Where was Jesus? In what territory? In Jewish territory. And in this one, he's in Gentile territory. So he pick up and in the first miracle, how many loaves of bread did they or broken pieces did they pick up? 12. And what does 12 mean? 12 tribes of Israel. And now he's in Gentile territory. How many pieces? How many basketfuls? 7. Which, if you round it up, it's a big round up, yeah, to 70. But and he's in Gentile territory. So all these things, Jesus is trying to get the point across. Yet they don't understand because I don't know what they were talking. I don't know what they were thinking. Okay, yeah, okay, you gave us food. All right, yeah, we're happy. Yeah, so what's next? But Jesus is trying to do things so they can understand. They're trying to do. He's showing them through what he does. When I broke out, okay. He answers them. They answer them. He said to them, "Do you still not understand?" And he leaves it there. And that's where that chapter, not the chapter, but where that scene closes. He doesn't explain it. That's why I tell you sometimes Jesus is very cryptic, very confusing, because he wants you to understand. He's not going to explain. It's like what happens to me in the last week. I'm getting a lot of messages on Messenger or even what do you call it? Yeah, not Twitter, but no, WhatsApp. And they asked me, brother, can you give me a list of books about X, about this thing but they don't tell me. They just tell me, can you give me books about Son of Man, please? And I know why. The semester is about to end. They're going to have to make essays. So what they're doing is that I'm going to look for them, for the books. I said, no way. I'm not going to help you. You are supposed to learn how to research. You just do your own research. So that's what Jesus is doing. Jesus is trying to make. See, I remember how many loaves, how many loaves of bread did you do the first time? 5. Again, I'm gonna go back because he asked them, "Do you still not? Do you have eyes?" When I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000, how many basketful pieces did you pick up? 12. So he wants them to understand something. They reply, and when I broke the 7 loaves for the 4,000, how many basketfuls of pieces did you pick up? And they answered 7. And he said to them, "Do you still not understand?" And he leaves it there. He doesn't, and sometimes he explains the parables, but this time around he didn't explain anything. So he did something. He expects the disciples to understand, and he expects us to understand. So what we have done is the best. I've done my best to understand it. That what he wants us to learn from these 2 miracles, and this is what I told you. This is the very famous Mark sandwich, because there are 2 miracles in chapter 6 and in chapter 8, and in the middle, there's another story in the middle. So that's what they call it, a sandwich. So this is a miracle number 1, and this is miracle number 2. And in between, a lot of things happen. But then Jesus recalls from miracle number 2. Don't you remember what happened in this Yeah, but that happened, I don't know how long ago, Jesus. I forgot. But he expects people to remember. So that's what they call it, a Mark sandwich. That's how they, I mean, I don't want to make you hungry, but a Mark sandwich. Mark sandwich. Subway, yeah, Subway, something like that. So what do so this is the last part before we get to the middle, right middle of the gospel, where Jesus is gonna say who he is. Well, actually, Jesus doesn't say who he is. Peter is gonna say who he is. Peter is gonna say who Jesus is, and this is where both the demons get annoyed, and the Pharisees are gonna get annoyed, and this is where we're gonna see where Jesus says he turns his face. Let me read it. Let me read it. This is where he turns his face. And after that, chapter 9, when Peter says, when Jesus is going to say who Jesus, when Peter's going to say who Jesus is in chapter 8, verse 27 to 30, and then he's going to talk about his death, and then we see something that David and me saw on Saturday when we were watching the Return of the Jedi. Hey, this I'm gonna give you a preview. Have you seen the Return of the Jedi? Yes. Remember when Captain Solo, or Han Solo, when Princess Leia brings him down and he's still in Kryptonite, and when she moves the buttons and he starts what comes out of him? Huh? No, no, no. What happens first before he falls down? What happens to his face? Oh, you saw it, you remember? Light comes out of him. And what happens in the transfiguration? Jesus' clothing becomes whiter than anything. So light comes out of him too, which is very interesting. That's why I like watching Return to Jedi. That part I always remember Jesus. Yes. Huh? What? Yeah, well, no, yeah, well, because I remember, because also in the Old Testament it says that the light comes out of God's hands, rayos brillantes. How to say? Ah, rayo brillante. I don't know how to say that. Like that, but the Old Testament says that light comes out of God's hands. So just imagine like Mortal Kombat. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. So yeah, Goku, Goku, Dragon Ball Z, yeah, Kamehameha. Ah! But see, all those things are in the Bible, so we can, as good otakus that we are, nah? Otakus. So next week we're gonna have a closer look at that, which is interesting because, like I said, we're finished with the first half of Mark. The next half, the next one, we start looking. Jesus says, "Okay, I'm gonna die." Now Peter says who he is. I'm gonna die. So when Peter says, "You are the Son of God," okay, and the first thing he says after he says, "Oh, flesh and blood has not revealed that to you, but my Father who's in heaven," and then he said, "Oh, and I'm gonna die, by the way." And what does Peter say? Again, what happens? They didn't understand about the multiplication of food. What's going to happen with Peter? He said, "Oh, you're the Son of God. Oh, yeah, my God revealed it to you." And then Jesus says, "But I'm going to die." And what does Peter said? "No, no, no, no. You're the Son of God." And then what did Jesus say to Peter? "Get behind me, Satan." So this is because from here on, the confrontation gets tougher between Satan and Jesus, because now we all know who Jesus is. Anyway, so in the thing, and look at verse 31 of chapter 8. Peter answered, 29. Peter answered, "You are the Christ." It goes back to other verses that says that he's the Son of God. And Jesus doesn't want anybody to tell about it. And then 31, he then began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders, chief priests, and teachers of the law. Look, the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law, and that he must be killed. And after 3 days, rise again. He spoke plainly about this, and Peter took him aside and began to him. Rebuke him. Tell him off. But when Jesus turned, looked at his disciples, he rebuked Peter. Get behind me, Satan. He said, you do not have in mind the things of God, but the things of men. Anyway, that will be next time. But think of the Son of Man. That if you have studied Bible, go and look, Son of Man. Don't be like people in the internet. Oh, Son of Man means that Jesus is human. No, it's not. Son of Man is not a human thing. Son of Man is a divine being. It's again go back to the movies. The Fifth Element. Who is she? Divine supreme being. That's what she goes. That's what she is. So you disappoint me. You disappoint me. Yeah. Yes. Movies are good. Movies are good. There's a book at the movies with Jesus. There's a book at the movies with Jesus. So anyway, okay. So thank you for those who are gonna watch this, and hopefully by next time you're gonna be able to see the next chapter in this saga, because this is a nice story. I mean, I like it. I like it. How it's an action-packed thing. He moves. He's always on the boat. People want to kill him. People are always questioning him, and Jesus gets you get to see Jesus. Come on, man. Yes. Jesus gets. Come on. I just did this, and you don't believe me. Come on. Anyway. Well, until next time, those people who are on YouTube.